What's up and welcome to Me, You, and Switch 2. I'm me, Tom Tate, and you're you, so let's talk about Switch 2. This is your spot for the latest news. We're going to keep it short and sweet, 5 to 10 minute episodes. Today is Friday, June 20th, 2025. And the big news this week is the Donkey Kong Bonanza Direct that went live on Wednesday morning. I actually released a full breakdown yesterday as a bonus episode, so check that out on your feed if you want the full coverage for that Direct. But there were some other headlines that caught my eye, so I just want to run through a few today as we head into the weekend. So more than 2,800 Switch 2s have been stolen from a truck traveling to a GameStop in Texas. This is a pretty fascinating, developing story. The total value was estimated to be $1.4 million in consoles. So I don't know if that was a targeted heist. Hopefully we get more details moving forward. A lot of articles this week revolved around a report by the game business that claimed that third-party games are selling in very low numbers. Cyberpunk 2077 appears to be the exception here, and I believe it's the highest-selling third-party game at the moment. It's been reported that the Switch version runs pretty well. It also includes the DLC all on one cartridge rather than a digital game key card, so there's some benefits there to pick up Cyberpunk. Polygon has a decent article on this. It's titled Switch 2's Non-Nintendo Games Are Flopping for So Many Reasons. I'll link to that in the show notes. My personal take, Switch 2 was way more expensive than I thought it would be. The accessories are more expensive. The games are more expensive. So if you bought the Mario Kart bundle, if you bought a Pro controller, if you bought an extra set of Joy-Cons, it's really hard in this economy. It's really hard, to justify dropping more money on third-party games like Street Fighter, Cyberpunk, and Yakuza 0, especially if you own a PlayStation, an Xbox, a Steam Deck, a PC. All of those games can be played already, and maybe you already have. Maybe you've already played Yakuza. Maybe you've already played Cyberpunk. Personally, if I wanted to play Cyberpunk, I think I saw it last month on a digital sale on Xbox for like $30, right? So, in an older version of Yakuza 0, you can probably pick that up for $20 or less. So, I think for me, for some of these games, I'll probably wait for an inevitable sale or price drop, personally. I buy Nintendo consoles mostly to play Nintendo games, and everything that is on top of that is a bit of a bonus. So that said, when a new third-party exclusive or a cross-platform game does release that I really want to play on Switch 2, I'll be there, I'll pick it up. But the launch lineup games have not really excited me in the ways that some future games are currently exciting me, which is a perfect segue into the next headline. Final Fantasy Tactics Remaster, the Ivalice Chronicles. I mentioned this in a previous episode. This is coming to Switch and Switch 2 on September 30th. I think this is possibly my most anticipated release of the fall. A new interview revealed that the original game's master data and source code no longer existed. So the game had to reconstruct most of it. The developers had to reconstruct most of the game from the ground up, using some code from other versions of the game, but also just from playing the original and just getting a feel for the original. A really fascinating article. I'll put a link in the show notes. Ivalice Chronicles is staying true to the original PS1 game. It will not include content from the PSP version, War of the Lions. Some outlets are reporting this as controversial, but I think most purists will be okay with this. I thought this was fun too. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, the Nintendo Switch 2 edition, they got a new Subway ad in the UK Subway that says out now. It's really big, really bold. Obviously, this is not true. This game is not out currently. We don't even know the exact release date, but this would be a pretty cool shadow drop if it was, and certainly an interesting way to do it if they were to have actually dropped this with a UK Subway ad. Nintendo's official YouTube channel dropped trailers for 007 First Light and Raidu Remastered, The Mystery of the Soulless Army. I'll be honest, I know nothing about that game. I've been hearing a lot about it, so I'm going to do some digging, learn more about Raidu. There's also been news that a demo of Donkey Kong Bonanza is popping up at Walmart, Target, and soon Best Buy. I love this. I love that this is still happening, that you can still go to these places and physically play the game to check it out before you purchase it, before you pre-order. I personally have very fond memories of the first time that I held a Super Nintendo controller. It was playing Super Mario World at a kiosk at Sears. And I had a long line of kids behind me who were waiting for me to get off the sticks, and I just wouldn't do it. And my mom, this was the 90s, was nowhere to be found. So she was not there disciplining me and telling me to give the other kids a chance. So I hear the Donkey Kong Bonanza demo actually has a 10-minute timer. I could have used that back in the day for some etiquette. But shout out to the Oxford Valley Mall, still standing. Sears, not so much. Oxford Valley Mall is still there. So that's the news this week. But as I mentioned, over the next few months, I want to trickle out some reviews of hardware and launch games. And today I want to talk about Welcome Tour. Welcome Tour is a $10 digital download where you explore the various features of Switch 2 through these little tech demos and mini games. And you're kind of inside the console. I saw that you can experience the HD Rumble 2 by shaking the Joy-Cons like maracas. That's an example. Or you can pilot a UFO with mouse controls to get a feel for the mouse. People were generally upset that this wasn't a pack-in, kind of like Astrobot, which was a pack-in and had the similar inside the system aesthetic for PlayStation 5. Nintendo Life's YouTube impressions video called it lovely and a nice experience. They had some positive things to say about the gameplay, and it seems like they had a lot of fun playing, plenty of Easter eggs throughout. They did criticize the price tag. They said it would have been the perfect interactive manual. IGN had a review. They were a bit more lukewarm. Tom Marks from IGN said the execution of that idea, however, is a somewhat muddled collection of quaint distractions and missed opportunities dressed up as a completionist checklist without much points. They actually gave it a 5 out of 10 in that review, and that kind of aligns with the Metacritic score of 53. The game was also criticized for having mini games that required accessories like the Pro Controller or the camera. So if you wanted to actually complete the game, if you are a completionist, it can be quite pricey. You also need a 4K TV to do a few things with capabilities of doing 120 hertz, right? So it can be pricey. I personally did just pick it up this week. I've only spent maybe 20 to 30 minutes in it. It's a cute experience, probably something you'll enjoy in short bursts. Definitely interesting to learn more about the inner workings of your new console. But I agree with some of the reviews that Nintendo had an opportunity to deliver a unique and almost revolutionary interactive manual if this was just a pack-in and it wasn't an additional $10. That said, I do think it's worth the price of admission. It's only $10. If you are interested in the tech that's powering the Switch 2, it's a really interesting and creative way to get a look at it. And if you're looking for something new and cheap to dip into in between Mario Kart World and maybe one other title, this does fit the bill. So if you checked it out, definitely let me know. Love to hear your thoughts on it. I want to thank you so much for joining today. It is Friday. It's Friday, so have a great weekend. Like and subscribe on your podcast app of choice, or you can subscribe on YouTube. We're also on there as well, too. I am Switch2Pod on Instagram and Blue Sky. If you have any feedback or want to share any stories with me, that's Switch2Pod with the number 2. Or you can just let me know what you've been playing. Happy to chat on there. I'm wrapping up Tron Bond right now and working through some games on my backlog outside of the Switch 2. And I'm really just trying to get ready to fire up Bravely Default, the new one, before Donkey Kong gets released next month. As always, a quick review or recommendation to a friend or Discord community or Reddit community really goes a long way as I'm just starting the show. It helps me spread the word. I'm not very great at self-promotion, so I am definitely counting on you, if you're enjoying the show, to spread it. Appreciate your time and attention. Much love. Now go play some games.